folks, and welcome to today's video, which is a discussion video, and it's going to involve these two models here.
Dobby and Chopper.
So these are obviously very different. What connection would you say there is between these two?
They're both animatronic.
Mm-hmm.
They both come from popular films. Cultural
yes,
things.
That's the thing. So in today's video, we're going to respond to the comments that I got on my unboxing videos of Dobby and Chopper, and we're going to be looking at robo enthusiasts, which is ourselves.
Robo enthusiasts.
Yes, so we like robotic toys and models and proper robots.
Things
and
that do
animatronics.
Animatronics, yeah.
Yeah, something usually that's got a microcontroller in it and that's got movement.
Right, okay.
So we're looking at that group of adults and another group of adults that purchase things like this.
Yeah.
Which are people who are collectors, but they're specifically collectors of things because they're in movies or books.
Right.
So,
okay.
Harry Potter collectors or Star Wars collectors.
Or Marvel, things like that, comic books.
Yeah.
Two distinct adult groups.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I thought I'd do this video because some of the comments that I got on Dobby were coming from people who collect Harry Potter stuff. And I found it interesting because we're not Harry Potter collectors.
Well, we're not collectors at all, really, are we?
Not really.
Or buying them because you're into the films or comics.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting because I normally just talk to people who are like myself, you know, in Facebook groups. So people who are interested in animatronics and robotics.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting having somebody who's coming from
a collector's point of view. I see what you're going with. Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about, are these two items worth the price? So Dobby is $50.
Yeah.
And Chopper's retail price is $80. So I'm going to start with a comment that I got from a Harry Potter collector.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go on.
They said that they don't think that this figure being out of proportion would affect its collectability.
Right, okay. I remember saying that. I thought it was out of proportion.
It's massively out of proportion.
Okay.
When I first saw this, I thought it was a bit creepy. I would like to ask viewers, how many of you think this is like cute or neutral, and how many think it's creepy? Because I found something very creepy about it. I think it's the sort of like the fact that it's shrunken down. It's got big feet and a big head.
Yeah. Like
makes you think of a baby.
Right.
But then it's got this weird pointy nose and it sort of kind of looks like an old man as well. So this collector said, I don't think that the out of proportion will affect its collectability.
That's interesting.
Because Funko Pop Harry Potter figures are even more out of proportion, and they are avidly collected by us Potterheads.
I'd always thought like the Marvel stuff, for instance, was perfectly in proportion.
Yeah, I mean, when I've seen videos where people collect Marvel stuff and they're buying very expensive figures,
it's highly detailed.
They talk a lot about how close it is to the characters that appear in the movies. Mm-hmm. And so I presumed, if you're a collector, this is top of the list.
Right.
So when we were talking about this and we were saying, is this just for kids or is this for a collector? And we said about it being disproportionate. I was kind of thinking about that.
Right.
But yes, it's quite true about Funko. There's some droidables that are coming out.
Yeah.
And they're made sort of like quite cutesy. I like them.
Right. So they're going out of proportion purposely, you might say.
Yeah.
In order to make them cutesy.
Yeah.
Although in the case of Dobby, it was for practical reasons, so we thought.
Well, I mean, we look at this from the point of view of someone who's interested in the electronics, how it works.
And the design overall.
And they wanted to put the batteries in the feet to make it stable. So when its head's moving and the arms are moving, it stays stable. So that's why they made it disproportionate.
Yeah.
When we unboxed this, you said that you thought perhaps it was actually more appropriate for a collector than a child.
Did I?
You did, yes. And Crazy Robot Lady wrote this comment. She said she actually agreed with you. She says, I do agree with Paul that this seems more for the collector than a child's toy because it's not engaging enough.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember mentioning something about this now. Yeah.
I don't think a child will come back to it after a few repetitions. She said something really interesting, you know. She said, if it had a few mini games like Dobby predicts the future and answers you with Harry Potter themed outcomes, that would add to its magic.
Yeah.
He could also tell very short stories about his time with Harry Potter and his friends.
And it would all be easy to put in that. Just electronic program.
And then add that now he is your special friend and will protect you.
That's a really nice idea, that. Crazy Robot Lady there has introduced the idea of children, which I've completely forgotten about in what we're talking about. We've been talking about adult collectors and robot animatronic enthusiasts, but really the third group is children. That's who these things are really made for, on the face of it anyway.
I think a lot of the time, though, toy companies have the worst of both worlds because it was like the new Furby.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're aware that there are Furby collectors.
Yeah.
And so we'll bring out a new Furby after years and years.
Or people who are not just collectors but have got a lot of nostalgia about Furby.
Yeah, so we'll appeal to that kidult sector.
Yeah, kidults.
But we mainly want to sell it to kids.
Yeah, I see. So they torn.
We'll try and make it suitable for kids now. And I think you end up getting something, the worst of both worlds.
Right, so it's not as good as it could be for kids, and it's not as good as it could have been for collectors and people who were into them for nostalgia reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe they should produce two versions.
You know, I think they should. But the thing is, they do with things like Barbies. Mattel does with Barbies. They produce collectors' Barbies.
They do, quite right, yeah.
Very expensive, with great attention to detail and the clothing and everything, and the limited editions. And then they produce things that are very obviously aimed at kids. So they cater for them. Lego does.
They do,
Lego will make
adult
things
Lego
and
sets,
say, this is for an adult. But with animatronics, you don't see that, do you?
I think maybe, are you saying like some of the big toy companies like Spin Master and Hasbro for these two toys, isn't it, are a bit confused as to who the market is?
I think companies like Hasbro want to have the cake and eat it. So they're trying to do like a mismatch.
Trying to appeal to everybody in one toy.
And I don't think, you're not going to get things that are really going to please everyone like that.
Yeah.
A lot of the Furby collectors were really felt insulted that the new Furby didn't move its mouth, didn't open its mouth.
Yeah, well, I was very disappointed about that as well.
Because it made it, a lot of people have said it looks dead compared to other Furbies.
Took a big part of its character away. Yeah.
Dobby thought his bladder would be enough to make Harry Potter see.
I want to ask people, what is he saying here?
Hang on. He said, it sounded like to me, Dobby thought
his bladder.
His bladder would be enough to make out his what? Dobby's
his
bladder.
I
don't get that.
I know he can't be saying his bladder, but that's what it sounds like.
Hello, are you there?
Is he so, folks?
What's he saying?
What is he saying? Are we missing something here? Yeah, so I would agree with Crazy Robot Lady, I'm surprised that there isn't any sort of like game or anything that a kid can play with.
It is a good point, yeah,
because when they brought out the Hedwig, you played a few games with it. Like, I think there was sort of one where it answered yes or no. I'm not sure, but there was a lot of game associated around the envelope.
Yeah.
That it came with. And Spin Master often puts lots and lots of games in its interactive toys. So why did they not do that this time? The only thing is like the sock. You know, that's like interactive in that you put the sock in his hand. And he's presented with clothes. But that's the only sort of interactive thing with it. I mean, you just press the button on the hand and it says a phrase. It's not very interactive, really.
As Crazy Robot Lady said, something about predicting the future, which has telling your fortune, which has been done in other toys, could have been very appropriate for Harry Potter themed thing. You know, like seeing into the future. Yeah, opportunity missed.
And finishing off talking about this model of Dobby. Is it worth $50? Crazy Robot Lady said that she didn't think there was enough phrases to justify $50, though at that time I hadn't discovered all the phrases, because he says different phrases when the sock is out of his hand to when it is in his hand.
Yeah.
But Barry Smallwood, Harry Potter collector, says, actually, we Potterheads buy strange things irrespective of the price, and then put a laughing face.
Well, when you are a collector, you are prepared to go to more extreme lengths, aren't you?
Yeah, but I'm curious about what it is that collectors look for in Harry Potter stuff.
Maybe it's the way it makes them feel. You know, I said this is out of proportion. On the other hand, whilst it's out of proportion, it's got some very subtle movements in the way it animates.
I like the movement.
Yeah. The phrases that it does say and the things that it does very well. So if that, as a collector, if you really get that Harry Potter feeling induced in you from the model, then it's worth it, I think.
I would be interested to hear from collectors themselves, though, what they look for when they're looking for Harry Potter merchandise. We've read all of the Harry Potter books. We read them before the movies came out.
Yeah.
And thoroughly enjoyed them.
Saw the films as well.
I don't think we've seen all the films.
Most of them.
We've seen most of them. I enjoy the books more than the movies.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't make me go out and buy something because it's associated with Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's the same here.
I mentioned earlier that when you're into robotics and animatronics, that you're looking for something. It's got to have a microcontroller, it's got to have some movement, and sensors is something that really fascinates us.
Yeah, something that has got a bit of sort of like intelligence to it and the way it operates, would you say?
Yeah, just some sort of interaction with the real world, with the world around it.
It's also nice to see how it works.
I found the most interesting thing about this was this sock business.
Yeah, because it's activating a sensor, and it's nicely done as well, isn't it? It's quite hidden, and it looks like it's I think we've said it's a beam break sensor in the hand. There's an infrared LED on one side and maybe a detector on the other. When you put the sock in, it breaks the beam. I
do like this, though. I mean, it means that you can just use any item of clothing. If you lost the sock,
you could use one of your own socks.
You could use one of your own socks. In fact, you could give them some item of your own clothing and put that there, and you'll still see it as clothes. Which is better than if it had like a magnet in or something like that, and that's how it was.
It is, yeah.
Detecting it. They have thought of a way a child could play with it. They could put items of their own clothing in his hand and get him to say Dobby's presented with clothes.
Yeah.
Just talking about the price of this, though. When a toy company does have to buy a license,
It's got to put it on the price of the toy.
it does make the toys more
It
expensive.
does, yeah.
And I've noticed that this is actually reduced in price. On Amazon UK, it's £44.99 instead of £50.
So would that indicate it's not been selling as well as they thought it should do?
Yeah, I don't know why that would be. Maybe people don't think that it will be entertaining enough to warrant spending £50. And on Amazon.com, I'll put a link in the description, folks. If you decide to buy one of these, please use that because it does help the channel. But on Amazon.com, it's been reduced to $39.99, so they've taken $10 off it, which is a lot off $50.
20%, isn't it? Yeah.
So there must be some feeling amongst people that it's a little bit expensive for what it is.
And I think it probably is as a toy, but perhaps not as a collector's item.
And one last thing I forgot about before moving on to Chopper was this comment I got. Just an idea following your comment about it needing a background. I think I will try and see if it can be operated in the display box. Just made me think. I don't think that the box is that good personally.
No, they could have.
It did make me think that they don't really cater for collectors and they don't bother about having some nice backdrop to display them in. You know, if you want to keep them up on the shelf.
It's not a bad backdrop. It's just not very big, is it? It's
Could have been a lot better. I mean, they could have put a really nice sort of background in of the castle or something like that, or a scene.
A fold out poster or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. So we're moving on to Chopper now. Just want to ask you, Paul, out of the two models, which is your favourite, Dobby or Chopper?
Chopper, definitely. Yeah.
Why is that?
He does much more, I think. He moves. He's funnier. He's got a greater range of sounds and movement combinations. And he is meant to be a robot as well, and I like that. I like that style of Star Wars robot. And we have also watched the Ahsoka Star Wars program. Wasn't brilliant, but you do sort of like get more value from your toy if you've watched the stuff, I think. But yeah, it's obviously doing a lot more, isn't it?
Well, the thing I like about it is it's got a microphone.
That's right, yeah. So
I
it's
always like things to have a microphone.
because you feel like it's interacting with you a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like it when you put like
Other toys next to them.
Yeah.
It can be very funny, that,
and
can't
sometimes you get these coincidences where they really look like they've understood and answered something. It could be so funny.
I think the styling of this is quite humorous, though.
I like this a lot.
You know, with the caster down there.
Yeah. The only thing I was a bit disappointed about was that in the Ahsoka series, his arms, he could actually put them on his hips.
On his hips, yeah.
Which was really expressive. But these don't. These, like, all they do is fold out like that. That was the one disappointment. It would have been so nice if he could put his hands on his hips because it was so expressive.
Yeah. Is it your favourite as well, then, would you say?
Yeah, it is. Out of the two. Yeah. I feel like Chopper's sort of reacting to things, which he is because he reacts to sound. Whereas Dobby, it's just like, press the button, say something, press the button. It's like Dobby doesn't say anything unless you keep pressing the button. I love his laugh as well.
It's a funny piece, isn't it? Yeah.
Got an interesting comment on Chopper.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, a toy of psychotic murdering war criminal.
Sorry, I didn't understand that comment.
Well, it's because we haven't watched Rebels.
Oh, right.
And there was an animated series.
Yeah.
which I wasn't interested in because I was like, well, why have you animated it? You know, I'm used to Star Wars being
real actors.
Yeah, so I wasn't interested in watching it, but apparently Chopper appeared a lot more in that, and he was a bit of a psycho.
Oh, right.
But in Ahsoka, he didn't do anything psychotic.
I remember him being on her ship, and he was throwing some sort of landmines out, trying to get on attached to an enemy ship. And
I know,
looked like
but that
he
wasn't psychotic.
Well, he looked like he was taking a hell of a risk doing it.
But anyway, this same person said they did a great job, but as usual, Disney stuff is way too expensive. And
It's licensed again, though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
no, this was
It was-
$80.
Yeah, it is. It is expensive.
So this was $80 at its original price. But like the Dobby, this has come down in price. So on Amazon.com, it's $70.69. And in the UK, it's been reduced to £62.29.
Oh, that's good from 80.
Yeah, but obviously people mustn't think it's worth the money. I mean, if this wasn't a licensed product, I don't think we would be expecting to pay $80 for it.
No, you'd be paying more like getting on for half that, you know,
Well,
50 maybe.
50 maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I also wondered if it was partly to do with, I have read that Ahsoka wasn't that popular. It wasn't as popular as the series before it, and maybe that's influenced people from wanting to buy stuff associated with the series. But as ever, the reason why we bought it wasn't because we watched Ahsoka.
It was the other way around, wasn't it?
Well, actually, I heard about Chopper and I thought, I don't recognise that droid.
Yeah.
And then I found out it was from this series, Ahsoka. So we watched Ahsoka.
Yeah, we got
so it was the other way round.
Got the robot first, then watched the series.
I did say, though, that I would have rather had an animatronic edition of Sabine Wren's pet cat. You know that, what do they call it? Not goth cat. Loth cat, that's it.
Loth cat.
Yeah, I would have loved that.
Well, you never know. Somebody might bring out a model, an animatronic model of
I
Loth
doubt
cat.
it. You were just saying you really like this caster.
Yeah.
It goes up and down.
And that's what rocks him backwards and forwards. I hadn't noticed that before. Yeah, it's coming out there. It's good. I like that.
So to just end this video, I just want to say that the reason why we buy things that are models based on characters from movies is because when you like animatronics and robotics, you don't really get catered for.
No, you don't. That's quite true.
It's not that much available.
There's no direct catering to adults, I don't think, with animatronics and robotic products.
So you're sort of like scanning around trying to find anything at all. And so I always think, what's Hasbro bringing out in the Star Wars line this time? Because normally they do bring out something animatronic. Or what's Spin Master bringing out to do with Harry Potter? Because it's like one of the few ways you can get an animatronic model.
Yeah, so ideally, I mean, if they were making something for you, what would you have them make you?
A pet.
A pet, yeah, an animatronic pet.
That looked sort of realistic.
Right.
That's why some people collect quite old, for real stuff that's around 20 years old now, because they used to be made in a realistic style.
Realistic style, yeah. Yes, in particular, that Squawker's macaw. Well,
that was wonderful.
Yeah, it was a wonderful piece, yeah.
And even like the first one, they brought out the cat. So that about wraps it up for this discussion video. Hope you found that interesting to some degree. Thanks for watching as always, and hope to see you next time.